Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Bryan here, your web design educator at Shaw Academy, and you're all extremely welcome to lesson 4 of the Ultimate Web Design program. So hello everyone. Well, we're going to do a sound check in just a second, but first I'll just let you know what we're going to be doing this lesson. So in this lesson, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be going through the 6-step design process. So yes, back in the introduction course, we went through the 6-step design process, but we stopped at lesson 4. So today we're going to go all the way up to lesson 6. Then I'm also going to give you a client brief, and then I'm going to tell you what I want you to do between now and Thursday's class. So very quickly, I just want to check something very quickly. Just how's my voice coming out? Perfect, it's coming through the recording. So then, can you hear me? Can you hear me out there? If you can, please type yes into your chat box. Hi there, England. Hi there, Mariska. Hi there, Stein, Amaret, Leanne, Chris, Jana, Bandier, Heinrich, Daniel, Harry, Khaled, Mark, Astari, Devira, Brazil, Joanna, Jeannie, Sue, Bonnie, Felix, Chris, Tian. So guys, sorry if I'm mispronouncing some of your names. They mightn't sit very well with my Irish tongue, but hopefully I'll get through. So Duncan, Sophia, Shane, Gustav, very good. Well, you're all extremely welcome. You're all, again, very welcome to you as well there, Russell. So you're all very welcome to lesson 4 of this. You're all very welcome to lesson 4. So let us go through the 6-step design process. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Chris, but glad to have you here. So guys, we had the 6-step design process. Can anyone remember? Just out of memory what step 1 is out of the 6-step design process? So what was lesson 1? What was step 1? Where do we always start from? What do we need to grab before we can do anything? What do we need to get? Get info. Perfect. Exactly, guys. Exactly. It's the very first thing we want to do. So we'll just quickly run through the steps one by one. So the very first thing we want to do is information gathering. Yes, we want to grab everything we can. You know, there's no use saying that we're going to have a whole bunch of images if the images don't exist or anything like that, or we're going to have 7 pages if we don't know that we can actually have any content to support that. All right, so after we've gotten all the information, what is step 2? Very good, very quick off the mark, very good. Excellent. Step 2 is, of course, planning. And that's where we take all the information that we've gathered and then we start putting a plan down. Alright, so the plan is your basic wireframes and stuff like that at the start. But then what happens in step 3? What's step 3 then? Excellent, fantastic guys, very good on the mark. Step 3 is design. So step 3 is design, and that's when we start finalizing our wireframes. Yeah, so we start finalizing our wireframes. We start looking at color schemes and all that kind of stuff as well. But we haven't started coding yet. So what's step 4? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Excellent. So step 4 is, of course, development. And that's when we actually start coding our website. So far we've gone through those 4 steps, and that's really where we stop at Introduction Web Design. Because what is step 5? Why would we stop at step 4? Excellent, fantastic memory, amazing memory amongst my students, better than myself. Step 5, and step 6 came out anyway. Step 5 is testing and delivery, and then step 6 is maintenance. So as introductory web designers, we can really stop at step 4, because testing and delivery, well, first of all, to test and deliver, we have to have a bit of experience with all the different browsers, and the only way we kind of get that experience is by using them. And as a web designer, we're just constantly dropping in and out of browsers, wondering, this works here, I had to put a prefix before, it doesn't work in Firefox. You check it out, you realize Firefox can't handle it, and that's just added to your skill level. That's just added onto your knowledge of how browsers work. And then of course step 6 is maintenance. Now we certainly can't do maintenance at an introductory level because our website has to be live for quite some time. Yeah, so there shouldn't be any problem with your site when it goes up live and you're finished. But step 6 means that once your site is live, and then you're just taking a look at it and tweaking it from time to time every few months or so. All right. So let's go through these one by one. There we go. So information gathering. So the huge benefit of information gathering is identifying your opportunities and obstacles early on in the development, yeah? So we ask ourselves questions like, what is the purpose of the site? Yeah, so what kind of site are we going to build? Portfolio site, photo gallery, company information page, local community site, whatever we want to build. What are the site's goals? And that is it to inform people about a certain topic? Is it to make money? Is it just for the fun? Basically, why are you taking the time to build the site? Then we move on to target audience. So who is our user group or demographic that we're designing this site for? Is it for a group in particular, or is it for a general age range? And then, of course, content. We want to grab as much content from the client or from ourselves or from our own research as possible and as early on in the development as we can. Now, the whole point of that is because if you do get to the development stage and you haven't got all the content, it's very, very annoying. It breaks your flow, especially when you're designing a page, and then you have to, when you're actually designing for a client and you want to have a photo gallery and you're using, just standard placeholder images while you're waiting for them to provide you the images. Then they do provide you with the images and you realize the background completely clashes and you have to go back, and it's absolutely terrible. So you want all the content up front straight away. All right. Okay. Then planning. Yes, so then we can move on to planning. So now we've got all the content, we got our brief down, we have a general idea of what we're going to do. Can anyone remember the first thing we want to do? We'd even do this in front of the client. So like after we've gathered as much content, and we're kind of merging the planning and the information gathering stages together at this stage, especially when you're dealing with a client. You're sketching while they're telling you. Yeah? So whoops. Yeah, no, I'm still broadcasting out. All right, so what would we want to do before we even make a wireframe? What do we need to know to get kind of a scope of the size of the project? What's the easiest way to see how much time we're going to actually have to spend? Ooh, close, guys. What we really need is we need ourselves a sitemap, yeah? So the first thing you're going to do is, if you're dealing with a client or even dealing with yourself, how many pages are you going to need? Because if you think of something simple like a portfolio site, just like this sitemap is here, you think of a portfolio site. It's not that big, and portfolio sites are rarely that big. But then when you start to map it out, it starts to get a little bit larger from what you have an idea in your head. So here, straight off the bat, I can see I need a home page, I need an about page, a portfolio page, a gallery page, and a contact page. That's 5 pages. So if I'm not making a one-page website, I have to build 5 distinct pages. Each one of those pages is going to have a nav bar. If I want to make one edit to one of those pages and I don't use PHP, I'm going to have to go into another 4 pages to edit it. Then I write that sitemap down. And then I come up with another question. So the great thing about these sitemaps is that they get you to think about how you're going to split up your content. So you've gathered some content. Your client has told you something about themselves. They've told you about themselves. They've told you about their journey, and they might have a very interesting story about their company came about. Everybody does, even if they make one up. So then you realize there's 2 about us. Are they talking about them, or are they talking about their services? So of course we've got sub-menus or even sub-pages. Yes, so about the company, and then about their services. Now we've gone up to 7 pages. So all of a sudden, this portfolio site, so if you try to price that off the top of your head, especially when you're dealing with a client, you want to write it down. You want to always take control over the speed of the development. Like the client is pressuring you for a kind of, you can give them a ballpark figure and always explain it with what that's based on. If someone says like, oh, I'd like to build a portfolio site. How much does a portfolio site cost me? You don't say €850 right off the bat. You say something like, well, it's about €850 and that will cover you up to, 5 unique pages and a photo gallery and a login form. You always list out what they're actually getting for their money. Because if you say, oh, portfolio site 850, and then they come back to you and they want to add an e-commerce function, and then you have to explain, but I didn't include that in the portfolio, and then they say, oh, but you said it was this. So you always want to list out what you are going to build before you actually build it, and especially if you're working with someone else. All right, so is that a realistic price? Yeah, that's about average here in Ireland. It would all be, again, that's for your research. So if you are doing this professionally, research it in your local area. So here in Ireland, it's about 850 for a portfolio site, and 450 for maybe if you're doing a one-page WordPress site with absolutely no design in it whatsoever. But the minute you want to make a unique development for a client, here in Ireland, you're looking at €850 minimum, and that'll get you up to like 20 pages and a contact form, but nothing really special added on. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Okay, so that's that. Also at that stage, you can start drawing your low fidelity wireframes. So your low fidelity wireframes are like what that is in the background there. Yep, oh sorry, there we go. Slides. There we go. So something like that is a low fidelity wireframe, yeah? It's just simple, and you can see it's just sketched out, so you can just do that while the client is talking to you. And it's a much easier way to make notes. So if the client says, or if you, low fidelity just means low quality or low detail. So stuff like this. So if the client, so say just this example here, the client says, oh, they want a header image. So you just draw a big box on the screen. So instead of writing down all the list of the stuff they want to do, they start describing a site to you. Like, how would you imagine your site to look? Well, I want a big picture of the product over the top. All right, and then you know they're going to need a nav bar, so you put that in yourself. Then they say, oh, I want a picture of myself. I want some news. So you're literally just drawing boxes on a piece of paper, just to show, just so you know yourself how big it is. It's just your way of note taking. All right, so let's just jump ahead to 6. Now design. Yes, so design. So once we've got all that stuff together, so we've got our low fidelity wireframes, we understand our client, we have a good bit of content to work with. So now we have to start putting it together. We now want to get out a serious plan in place before we actually start putting before we really start coding and we can't move back. So first thing we can start looking at is our color schemes. Yeah, so we can start picking out a nice color scheme to go with the site. Now, if you're dealing with an existing company, which is most likely in most cases, they will have a logo. Yeah, so your color scheme will be they'll already have a color scheme. You're very lucky if they don't. It's a lot of extra work to have to come up with a color scheme because you have to look at every other color. If they do have a logo, if they do have a logo, you are very lucky because you can literally just put their logo into a color scheme generator and it will pick out all the colors for them. And I'll show you how that works now in a second. So of course at this stage we also start doing our high fidelity wireframes as well. So high fidelity, and this is really if you have a bigger client or or if you're charging a bit extra and you want to keep them in the loop about how the design is going. So a high fidelity wireframe, you can do this in kind of any picture drawing application. So you can do it in Photoshop, you can do it in GIMP, or else if you're good, you can do it by hand as well. But this is basically just turning your low fidelities and just populating with a bit of content, just so that the client has an idea of what it's going to look like. So if you tell them, if you give the client that, yeah, like if you give the client that wireframe, and then you end up doing something like that, and they say, oh, why is this here? Why is that contact me there? Because that's the call to action, that's your header image. Well then, if they don't understand that, you might want to produce just a simple higher fidelity wireframe for them. All right, perfect. And then of course, we can move on to our development stage. And this is when we actually start coding our site. Yeah, so it's time to start coding. And we are all very, very familiar with this stage because we love jumping right into it. Yeah, so perfect. So are there any questions on the five steps we've covered before we move on to the next 2? Any questions at all, guys? We're in the theory class, so there won't be much much coding on this. So you got all the time in the world to ask all these kind of questions. Nope. User input. We'll actually discuss user input when we discuss UI and UX design next week. Really. Well, actually, we're going to discuss user input now in a second, but really you should always have someone there all the time. You should constantly be testing, always be testing. But we'll discuss that more in just a few seconds. Should you show in desktop and mobile? Yes, you should. So when you're sketching your wireframes, you should be sketching both mobile wireframes and desktop wireframes. But really, from a mobile, for you guys, if you are new to web design, always start with your mobile first. Yeah, so if you are new to web design, you are extremely lucky. Get into the habit right now of going with a mobile first design practice. All of us who've already have experience, it's very, very bad because, constantly, I'm even doing it myself. I will constantly, when I first put my pen on the paper, I draw a large rectangle. I can't stop myself from doing it. It's what I do. I draw a desktop screen and then I draw my mobile styles afterwards. But always the first time I put pen to paper, it's a giant rectangle and I'm still trying to get myself out of that habit. All right. Okay, so then we'll continue on to testing delivery. Alright, so testing and delivery. Well, in today's modern world, there's something that we always have to test, yeah? Well, there's something that we're constantly going to be testing during the development anyway. But then once the site is finished, there's something that we really want to check. And that is responsiveness, yeah? So right off the bat, we're all kind of very, very aware of how responsive design works. We're all responsive designers, and you've all have been for the past few weeks. So you first want to check it across a range of devices. Yeah, so you open it up. So just because it looks great on the when you resize your window to a mobile size on your desktop, grab a mobile phone and open it up and take a look at it, just to make sure everything is still going all right. Yeah, so that's the first thing you do. Next one down, cross-browser testing. So after you've checked all the big ones, so you've checked Chrome, you've checked Firefox, you've checked Chrome, you've checked Firefox, you've checked Safari, you checked Internet Explorer, going back as far as you like. You might have a fix in there, so if you're writing very to a very modern standard, you might just have a fix in there to tell anyone who's using Internet Explorer 8 or below to either catch up with the modern times or get off your site. Perfectly acceptable pretty much nowadays, depending on what kind of site you have to make. But that's what you're doing there, cross-browser testing. Accessibility. So you can test for accessibility as well, especially if you have a feeling that that people with certain disabilities will be on your site. So if you're designing, say, a site for children or anything to do with learning, you want to make sure that your font is readable to people with dyslexia. First of all, especially with children, you want to make sure that any site you build to do with a local community project or anything to do with anyone under the age of 18, you want to pay particular attention to the fonts. Yeah. Particular attention to the fonts and make sure it's legible for all the children out there. We then look at code quality as well. And that's just going over your code, just giving a quick glance over, seeing if you can cut down any of your code anywhere. Like, have you declared a CSS rule more than once? Like, are you styling your heading 1 in 3 separate places? You have to consolidate all those together. Have you got a number of different, have you got like 3 different style sheets that you had separated just because it was easier to write the code that way? Well, at this stage, you might want to compile them all together. No, I'm not changing slides, but there are words popping up on the screen. Yep. Documentation and user manuals, that would really be only if you're, that's really for web apps. Yeah, so documentations and user manuals would really be for web applications. But us as web designers, they should be up there straight away. Like you shouldn't need a manual how to use a website. It should be perfectly intuitive. All right. No broken links, guys. Extremely important. That's also very important for SEO. Yeah, so search engine optimization. So I will also be showing you a quick test that I'll be showing you some of the online tools that you can use to run through your site and throw you back any errors. But no broken links is a big one. No, broken links really they really put a damage on your SEO. Yeah, so broken links, because what is the internet? The internet, the whole point of the internet is being able to click on a link and be brought to a place of further information. So if you can't provide the basic function, well then you're kind of spitting in the internet's face when you have a page full of broken links, and no one likes it. Usability. Usability, extremely important as well. So you have a beautiful menu bar. Yeah, you have a beautiful menu bar. It works on mobile, but can they use it properly? Yeah, so all that is that you click all the buttons, you go over the menu bar. Like if you scroll over the menu bar and the menu bar comes down and you go down to press a link and the menu bar disappears and you go up again and then you have to go back and change it, because your menu bar is going to be extremely important. Anything like that on your site that isn't easily usable, you want to make sure it is easily usable, or else you're technically not really finished with your development yet. And yes, Helen, broken links do make it look like you don't know what you're doing. They are not good to have at all. Load time. So load time is something that is extremely important to us as web designers as well, especially in this mobile era, when people are downloading using 3G connections and less. So you want to make sure that your site is loading up in an adequate time. I believe what is the metric now? You've got a minute to turn a visitor into user, but I think you've got less than 20 seconds. You've got less than 20 seconds. Your site has to be loaded up in 20 seconds. In some cases, less. But when a user first comes onto your site, you've got up to 20 seconds because the user doesn't know what's loading. They might think that there might be a big image gallery, but if it takes like 20 seconds to load and there's just text there, chances are your users aren't going to go past the first page. If it takes 20 seconds to load and they end up getting an eye-popping photo gallery, well then it's perfectly acceptable. You know, they're glad to have it. In the US, you have 3 seconds, so people are saying 1 second. Yeah, load time is very important. But guys, we're all human beings. We are all internet users, so you actually have a lot of this knowledge yourself because you have been a web user for so long. You know what annoys you. Yeah, so you just go onto your own website, and when you click go. And if it's taking too long to load, you will know because you're used to it. You know, you're used to going onto sites that are taking too long to load. You will know yourself if your site is taking too long to load. And then anything else you can think of, guys. And then anything else that you put into your development. If you have a form on there, yeah, that's asking for an email address, type a phone number in. See what happens. Type in a few characters in there to see if it breaks the form, to see if it even sends the form. So you want to do stuff like that as well. You're just testing the whole site. Anything you can think of. All right. Now, can anyone think of one flaw with this testing and delivery so far? One flaw with testing. Who has been doing the testing up to this point, I should ask? Exactly, guys. Yourself and you, and exactly right, Camilla. Yourself and you know how the site works, yeah? So if you want to test your booking form, you go to the contact button and you go to the booking page and you test out the form. And you think everything is working fantastic. But the thing is, you put the button there. You remember where you put the button. You remember how the form is laid out. And you remember anything like that. You will automatically be able to easily test it. So you're testing for the big things. But what you really have to do, guys, and you should always do this, so before you ever hand a development over, you give your development to someone who has not used it before and give them a task to perform. And this is where family and friends can come into play. You just give it to someone. Yeah? So if I build a booking form or if I build a booking website, before I even show it to the client, I turn it to one of my friends. Yeah, I'm out, I give it to one of my friends and I say, here, listen, could you just make a booking on this site, please? And they'll do it. And I'll just watch them do it. I'll watch them smile. I'll watch them frown. And that's really what you're doing. If you go into a real kind of high level development, it's great fun because you have cameras set up. Yeah, so that's what we actually do. You get to put cameras on people, and then you say, and you give them tasks like, I would like you to book this, and then I would like you to edit your booking. And then you track their screen. You take a look at where they've been clicking. You monitor their facial expressions, so you see how long it's actually taking. It's great fun. But you see, that's the great thing, because your friend will tell you all the great things about your site, Steve, but you'll be able to see straight away. So if you say go to the book on here, and you see them on there for a while, scrolling up and down, trying to find the booking function, when the whole goal of the site is to generate revenue through having people book through the site. So if your friend is scrolling up and down the page for a few seconds and can't find the booking button, well then there's step one. You got a problem there. Your booking button is not easily found, and that is the goal of your site, so you have to rethink that. And then of course they go to the booking form and you see how quickly they can fill it out and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. And just let them know, you guys, we're web designers. We love feedback. All right. Then we have the last one. Maintenance. Yes, maintenance. Now, you can see these guys in the background with their crazy VR sets. So what is going to be coming up next? Well, keep an eye on your previous developments and make sure they don't fall too far behind the times. Yeah, so that's something that you do want to keep an eye on from time to time, and if you can afford to. So it's not great to have a website. If you built a website and something crazy and something came out like responsive design, and a lot of the fixed websites, there were easy fixes for them, especially for back in the 90s, because you weren't doing full width websites. There wasn't much in them. There wasn't crazy stuff in there. It's actually very easy to convert a site from the 90s into a responsive site. It would take less than 5 hours. That's something that you could easily update, and that's something you can keep an eye on. Now, especially if you're developing with something like WordPress or Joomla. So maintenance is a huge part of CMSs. And we'll be talking about security in one of the later lessons. But especially if you're using something like a CMS, and especially WordPress. Now, WordPress is not inherently insecure. Yes, so have we all heard this? WordPress gets viruses, WordPress gets hacked, WordPress is really insecure, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. It's actually not. It's just because it's the most popular CMS out there. The vast majority of websites, almost, I think it's pretty much over half of all websites out there are built using the WordPress platform. Yeah? Over half of all websites out there are built using the WordPress platform. Let's actually just quickly check that. WordPress market share. Because this is something to really take a note out here. So let's see, we got 60%. Yeah, so we got 60% market share. Now, why WordPress? It's because WordPress came out with the idea. WordPress was developed with the idea that that publishing should be open to everyone. Yeah, so they decided when they first came out, they realized that web design was quite difficult because back in the day you had to know HTML and CSS or else you just couldn't have a website. So they came up with a great way to manage all that for the user and then also give you full access to the back end as well, so you can fully change it. But here, if you are a hacker, yeah, so you're a hacker, you're not going to get into every site, and if you understand a little bit of how hacking works, how cracking works, you're really playing to the numbers. That's what you're doing, yeah. And it really comes down to that simple. So if you're a hacker, why would you try to target Magento when there's only 2.9, when it's only got 2.9% market share? When you can target so many sites, you can send out a really simple tool, even so much as checking. If you go to a WordPress site, the user login is usually WP admin. Yeah? So whatever site /WP admin. Actually, let's just check. I'll just show you. Hello, world, WP admin. Yep, so there you go. So there's the login. So there's the login to the back end of WordPress. Now, you can change this, and I really should change it on this site, but I haven't needed to yet because I've got other security things that allow me to see when people are hacking in. I prefer to watch people try to hack in than just stop them altogether because there's nothing important on here anyway that they can take. But the big thing here is that you can actually write a very simple script that will just go through websites. So we'll just go through /WP-login and just test user and password. With 60% of the world's websites built on it, you're bound to hit hundreds, literally hundreds of thousands of sites that have that user there, that have a username user and a password as password, because of the giant market share. So that's what makes these, they're not insecure, people just leave them insecure. Yeah, so the reason why they're hacked so much is simply because there's just so many of them out there that it's easy, it's easier to target them. All right, and then of course don't let it fall behind the times. It's always good to try and just keep your developments just a little bit better. All right, guys. So any questions on the 6-step design process? No? Yes? Maybe? How's the audio come out for everyone out there? Is it clear enough for you guys? It's all good? Perfect? All good? Ooh, sorry about that. Sorry about that for some. For some it sounds a little bit crackly. Alright, it's a little bit crackly for some. I'm afraid your only option really would be to actually close it down and clear your cache and come back in. If you can stick with it, I'd recommend you do stick with it rather than going through that whole process. But if you do have to, that is your best bet. Ensure you're using Chrome, log out, log back in, and clear your cache. Yeah. Nibbler. So guys, here is a place where we can use to test our site. All right, so here's a place where we can test our site. So this place is called Nibbler. So nibbler.silktide.com. Sorry, as always, I should always have my Facebook open here. So just 2 seconds. So if you build a website for a company with a database, who does the upkeep on the domain provider? You work that out. So I usually work out a term where I will update their site for them for a limited amount of time. Yeah, so I would always have something in there like, so after I'm finished building your site, I'll provide updates, my password to go in if they want to do some crazy stuff. But really, you just work that out yourself. You just work that out with them. Because, listen, if you and you offered to update, to have a clause in there to update it, and they didn't want to take it, well then they need a new product. That's all it is. It's like, you know, it's like anything. If you buy a pair of shoes and then amount of time, well then you can't go back and say, oh, the shoes are ruined, I want a new pair. It's like, no, you use them. They fit their purpose. Alright, so let me just quickly go in here and you WDC. Perfect. Alright, so I'm just going to grab this and put it in here. Perfect, so that's Nibbler there. Alright, so here's Nibbler. So test any website. So there's loads of these out. Exactly, you search. So test your website. Just test your website speed. So you want to be a little bit more specific with these things here, simply to take advantage of the SEO of the whole thing. So if you want to test for speed, test website speed, test website responsiveness. Now there are paid tools that you can use. I actually don't know. I have never actually tried any of the paid tools myself. I'm perfectly fine with the normal tools. But you can research your own paid tools. But here, Nibbler is actually a good one, just to give you an overview of how the site looks. So let's check one out here. www.shawacademy. So there we go. So the report for shawacademy.com. So we have an overall score of 8.1. How accessible? So let's see. Mobile and disabled users, we got an 8 out of 10. Let's see what had happened here. Code quality, not great. But internal links, all fine. URL format, all legible. Headings, all there. Mobile devices and page titles were all there as well. So that's perfect. Experience, how satisfying. Now you can take some of these with a pinch of salt. Let's just see how they're using this. Experience, how satisfying is the website usually to be to users? Alright. I'm not really sure how they're calculating to link with a bit of SEO, your marketing one here. So, well, meta tags won't do anything. Lets you know if it's connected to analytics, amount of content per page, the domain age. That's just standard ways to check on your SEO, and technology. So, let's see how we're doing here. So it's mobile, server is fine, images are grand, headings. Where are we doing bad? Code quality is still not great. Why? Finding 46 errors according to W3C. Well, we're still doing pretty good. We're up there. All right. To put into this? Yes, it does. Well, this one in particular is really for testing a live site. Yeah, because this one is testing if it's linked to Facebook, how old the domain is, all that kind of stuff. So this is really for a live site. But let's see, what would you actually, but you see the real thing is here. So that just gives you a general overview. Yeah, that just lets you know. So if all these scores are bad, well, you know that you've made a terrible development. You've made a mistake someplace. You've made a mistake out there. Yeah, the only people who are able to tell you that is yourself after the fact, after you've got all your users in, after you've converted all your users in to complete your goals. Well, then you know you've built a big site. This 8.1 score up here, this good 8.1 score out of 10, that's absolutely useless unless we have students and all that kind of stuff. And Atom has features to test their stuff as well. See, test your website speed. Let's take a look. So this is a big one here, tools.pingdom. And what else have I got here? There we go, tools.pingdom. And there's someplace else I want to go, color.adobe.com. So let us test something here. Now this is very interesting, guys. Now this is a good speed test. Why is this a good speed test, guys? Why do you think this one, why do you think I'm actually happy to have come onto this one here? Can anyone take a guess on why I'm happy with this one? Response time? Yes, harmony. Yes, and well, Harmony there, and Mark as well. I can test from different locations, guys. Yes, so we can travel information now with the speed of light using fiber optic, but speed of light still needs to cover a bit of distance here on planet Earth. Yeah? So if you have your website hosted in Germany, it's going to take longer for it to load up in Dallas, Texas than it is to do in Switzerland. Yeah? Just makes sense. It has the information has less ground to cover. Now, even if it is traveling at light speed, that still actually makes a good bit of difference. And there's also a delay. It's not constantly moving at light speed as well. So you're always going to have those other delays. So let's just quickly run a quick test here. www.shawacademy.com. Let's see how long it takes us to get from Dallas, Texas. Alright, so we'll just let that load up. Alright, so we got 4.14 seconds. 4.14 seconds. And you can see here, faster than 40% of tested sites. That's a good enough figure. That's a good enough figure for us. That's fine. Performance grade D, not great. But anyway, let's see how we're doing. Alright, so now let's try it from, so where are we usually? Let's see, have we got a European place? Ah, Stockholm. There we go. Let's see how we're doing in Stockholm then. Alright guys, so we went from 4, so it takes 4.14 seconds for Shaw Academy to load up in Dallas, Texas, yeah, versus 1.39 seconds here when we load it up in Stockholm. Yeah, so you can see there's a clear difference. That's a lot of seconds, especially when we're talking about 20 seconds to load up a whole site before you lose someone for good, before they go to one of your competitors. That's a lot to take a look at. So we want to constantly be taking a look at especially your target market. So if you're working out of Europe, it can be kind of annoying because you want to keep all your data here in Europe for data protection laws and all that kind of stuff. So if your target market is heavily in the United States, you do want to keep an eye on that because it is adding a few seconds to each page that loads up because of the distance it has to travel as well. Alright, so that's some of that. And of course, guys, the responsive test is actually the best people to go for. The responsive test is most likely Google. Google, RESPONSIVE test. There we go. Sorry, I'll just grab this as well. Tools.ping. You can actually, now I know I have the 6-step design process, which kind of goes step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But when you're actually developing, depending on who you're developing with, they can kind of merge together. Yeah, so step 1 and step 2 are merged. Step 3 and step 2 are merged. Then step 4 is kind of a merge of all the previous steps. Step 5 is the testing and delivery, and that's kind of be done throughout the site as well. Yeah, so you don't just build a menu bar and then just walk away without testing your hover effect. Whenever you build a hover effect, you're obviously going to move your mouse over just to make sure the hover effect is working. But then the full testing, it's systematic testing at step 5. Yeah, so the normal testing is done throughout, and that's just general tests. But then at the end, when you're finished with your site, you're actually going to test kind of the user experience. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about next week. User interface and user experience. How are they? How do they differ? How are they similar? All that kind of stuff. But that's really what you're testing during the testing phase. You're systematically testing your site. So like you'd have a list there in front of you. It's like, are all my links working? Are all my images working? How long does each page take to load? All that kind of stuff. Let me see here. Sorry, Daniel, I didn't see your question. If you want to just copy and paste it in again there. Sorry, it's been pushed up too far. Right. All right. Let me see if I can find that. Daniel. Yeah, sorry, Daniel. I don't have your question to hand here. Oh. You had a site on WordPress but didn't get to test it before publishing. Well, how did you actually? Is this WordPress.com or WordPress.org? People getting sidetracked with Nibbler. No worries. Welcome back. So Daniel, are you developing with .com or .org? .com, you have no say, unfortunately. No say in that. WordPress.com, all managed by WordPress. No real need for testing. If it doesn't work, well, it's kind of a problem with WordPress.com more than anything. And WordPress.org, you can test it all you want because it's yours, and you get all the code, and you can put it up on a private server, and you can hide it from the search engines and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's a problem. So WordPress.com is well, like this is a word. WordPress.org is this place here. Like, did you have to, if WordPress.org, this is what we'll be doing next week as well. So this is going to be our practical lesson next week. It's going to be this one here. And this is WordPress. So if I was to download this. Open. Where are you? Anyway. It's all the raw files. Like you don't actually get anything nice. You have to set it up with all that kind of stuff. Are there tests for color blindness or dyslexia? Yes, there are. Yes, there are. And you should always use .org, guys. So if you're going to use WordPress, use the .org. You don't need to use .com. You can use .org, and then you can have your own server. You can have your own domain. You can do that all yourself, and you'll actually get it much cheaper than you would if you were using .com. Because, well, of course, they're taking a service charge for you using their services. But WordPress.org, it's all open source, so you can take it, download it, use it for a client, do whatever you want with it. Sell it on as is. So yeah, so that's not open. Anyway, that's WordPress.org. We'll be going back into that later, but unfortunately you can't do anything with that. You have to actually have it on your own server. Alright, so here we go. So mobile, so yes, fantastic, this page is mobile friendly. That is, well, first of all, very important. So that's the first place you're going to go to is the Google search to check if Google knows that your page is mobile friendly. So even if your page is responsive, and even though it works perfectly well from you using it, you still want to go to Google and ask Google, can you see that my page is responsive? Because you will lose a lot of SEO points for that. A lot of SEO points for that, especially if someone is searching on a mobile device. Well, what do you mean by pre-delivery? Like for me, for example? Well, like for example, FIRTRE. This is a site in development. Yeah, so I keep going back to this site. So they're getting ready for Christmas. Yeah, they're getting ready for Christmas. So this is what you get. You get a landing page. You can't go anywhere. Yeah, the site is actually all behind this. So I can run all the tests I want on this So this is live on the web. It's hidden from the users so they can't see all the stuff being broken behind it as we build it again. But I can still run through this. So this is hosted live on the web. I can even ask Google very nicely not to index the site, and we can cover that in SEO in the SEO lesson. But read, that's what you're doing. You can put it up live on a server. Like, have you ever heard of the phrase a development server? Where you basically have a spare server where you stick up your site so you can test it, and you make sure that Google doesn't index that site. It's actually a setting in WordPress that you just say you ask the search engines not to index their sites so that you won't be damaged in SEO later when you actually do release it. All right. Perfect. So that's our mobile friendly test, and then I wanted to go back to so color blindness. Paladin.com. So, as I may have told you in the introduction course, if you are colorblind, you're actually very lucky because you don't have to actually run these tests, because if you can't see it, well, then your users can't see it. And if you do have full color vision, do keep an eye on this, because I can tell you a lot of people, including myself, can't really tell the difference between blue and can't really tell the difference between that blue and the purple that has when it's hovered. I make mine red to make it nice and simple so I can scroll up and down like this. Yeah, I like to speed read, so I like to be able to scroll up and scroll down. I can see, yeah, I searched for this before. I don't actually have to stop and try to see if there's a difference between that and that. I can see it straight away. Paladin, why can't I find this? Palleton. Etton. So guys, here is the more complete, here's another way to pick out your color schemes. If it looks like your colors are too close together, if you'll get a hint. You'll just be able to see it, like for example, the Google thing. If you're using blue and purple, Yeah, so if you're using colors right beside each other on the color wheel, or right beside each other, they're very, very similar. You'll just know yourself. So if you're using pink and red, they're obviously close together. If you're using something like yellow and orange, very close together. Blue and purple, close together. And even, yeah, so stuff like that, you'll be able to see it straight away. But you're able to do stuff like this. So let me just pick a random color. Just give me something there. There we go. So we can see here all the shades. We can see what that would look like there. Let me see, can I turn on text? Preview. Alternative with text. Yeah, so I can see what it looks like. So I can see what my colors are going to look like with black, grey and white text on it. So I can see legibility before I even include them in my site. But this is great here, visual simulation. So this is the one that most of us would have. I guarantee that some of my students have it as well. I can't pronounce it. 5% of men. That's a lot of people, guys. A lot of people. So that's what these colors look like. Doesn't actually change that much. Makes a serious difference when you start differentiating, like I said, the colors between like blue and purple. Becomes very difficult then. But really, you can see that that's actually what these colors is trying to kind of adapt what they'd look like. Let's see here. What else we got? We can also go unable to see color. So if you're doing something for an eye doctor, well then that's a very important test to run on your site before you give it to them, so you're able to see what the colors would look like to someone if they couldn't see color. And then we've got everything else in between as well. But really, guys, this is the one that you want to go for. This one here is the most important one. Okay? Perfect. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Ah, yes, and a logo. Anyone want to give me Google logo? Open. View image. Und save. Alright, just in case if anyone missed this from a few lessons ago, so easiest way, especially if you're dealing with a client who already has a logo, go to color.adobe.com, click this little camera, pick your image, grab their logo and stick it in there, Google logo, open, and there we go. It will give me a color scheme. No, unfortunately, I don't speak Deutsch, unfortunately. So there you go. And that will give me, and we can see straight off, I got Google's color scheme. There we go. There's the colors. I can either actually, well, you see, it's not going to really work with this one because there's not a lot of color. But you could do stuff like that. Now, if they don't have something like that, yeah, so if they don't have something like that, you can also take the header image, which I've had to do a few times. So if they had a S-T-O-R-E, or F-R-O-N-T, closed door, C-L-O-T-A. Let's pick something that will kind of look like a banner image. Something like that, that's perfect. So imagine if you were designing a web page for this person here, for this vintage clothes store, and they didn't really have a logo, or they just had black and white logo. They didn't really know where to go with their color scheme because they're so vibrant. But let's just go, then what you do is you can take a picture of their store. So imagine if that was a big high quality image, you can use that as a header image. It's very interesting, it's got loads of stuff in it for you to look at. Then what you do is you go over to your color scheme. Get back in there. Choose from image. And where do we stick that? There we go. Blur. We can open that up. And then we have a whole bunch of things here. So there's the colorful scheme from that, taken from their store. So that's going to go very well, especially if they have a set header image. So we know that these colors will work well with that image. We can also see the brightness of the colors. We can pick a muted color scheme to get more of a kind of flat effect. Deep colors, dark colors, so on and so forth. Or else we can even just use our own color scheme. So you can even just drag these things and place them where you want. So if you want to do a color scheme based on the hats. Where's that color? That's that there. Yeah. So you do stuff like that as well. So loads and loads of stuff. All right. So that's so that's the 6-step design process. Now, why do we go through the 6-step design process? Because now I'm going to give you a brief. And in fact, guys, one more thing for you. If you do have a smartphone, download yourself the Adobe Color app. Get yourself an Adobe account and download the Adobe Color app. Absolutely fantastic. If you're down the beach and you, like if you're, actually I should talk about that just before we go in because it's a fantastic design tool to have. A fantastic design tool to have. What you need is you get the app, you take a picture and it will get you the, and just like I did there with that header image, but it will take it straight from your camera. The only way for me to explain it is for you to actually download the app and you'll be able to see it yourself. Just get onto your smartphone there and you're able to save color schemes. So if you're walking through the field or if you're out with your family or if you're on the beach and you see an amazing sight, you can actually take that as a color scheme. And you know it's going to be a good color scheme because you find it amazing right there and then. Capture the color, use it in your designs. So let me just pull this up. Alright guys, so what's going to happen on this Thursday is we are going to build a site as quickly as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that we have a client. Alright, so we're going to imagine we have a client called Carl's Surf Shack. Now they need a fast development. They need a development that can go up straight away. Now the Carl's Surf Shack is a surfing centre on the west coast of Ireland. The services they offer are equipment rental, and that's surfboards and wetsuits. They have surfing lessons available. That's group and private lessons, adult and child lessons, school tours, and they also provide gift vouchers. And they also run surfing camps. And they run 5-day courses, as in week-long courses, and they run for only the months of June and July. Now, they also have a shop attached. Alright, so you don't need to take this down guys, I'm going to provide you with this brief as a PDF. Now, they also have a shop attached to their surf centre. And they offer the following products. They offer surfboards. They have surfing accessories like straps, wax, grips, cases and bags. They have wet gear like wetsuits, stuff for your head to keep your head warm. They've got gloves and booties, especially here for Ireland because it's freezing. And they've also got clothing, so hoodies, swimming apparel and footwear. Now, what is the purpose of the site? Well, they have told me that the purpose of the site, like why they want the site, well, first of all, they need a website because they don't have one, and that's good enough reason. But what they want out of it? Well, they want to promote the surfing school and shop first of all. So not just promoting just surfing. They're not just doing it for the love of surfing. They are there to promote their surfing school and shop because that's their bread. That's how they earn their bread. They want to allow prospective clients to book a place and get in contact with them. So that's another few requirements. So they want to broadcast they have a surfing school and shop, but they want to make sure that the client is able to book a place and get in contact with ease should they like it. And then also to provide location and directions to customers, something extremely important here in Ireland because it's impossible to find anything, especially the way our roads and signs work. Yes, so far we've got everything we need. Now, what are their goals? Yeah, so what are their goals? To reach a larger audience, to take in more bookings, and to be found on Google. Yeah, so what do they really want to see out of this? Well, they want to take in more bookings than they already have, because now they're going to have a site attached. They want to reach a larger audience so that they're not just confined to the west coast of Ireland. They want people in Dublin to be able to find their site should they want to go surfing on the west coast and be able to drive out and know where they are. And they want to be found in Google. So those two are going to be intrinsically linked. Yep. So who is their target audience? Well, they've told me that anyone with an interest in surfing who is over the age of 16, schools and local clubs in the surrounding areas, and parents in the local area or holding with children in the local area. Alright, so we can see straight away this is going to be kind of a fun site. So far we've seen a lot of things come up. So even though it's going to be we're going to be, the people who are making the bookings is going to be the parents, yeah, the people with the actual money. But then we can see straight away that if it's parents holding with children, then we want kind of a fun site. We want parents to log on, and we don't want to be really, because even if the parents are going to be the ones making the booking, spending the money, we want to let them know that this is going to be an experience for their children, that their children are going to have great fun here, you know? So yeah, perfect. And schools and clubs in the local surrounding area. And here's our content structure. So we have about the courses, so we have details, we have photos, we have price, about the equipment, details, photos and price, and store products, details, photos and price. So these are the individual attributes for each one of those things as well. Special features they're going to need, so they're going to need a contact form. So they're going to want a way that people don't just have to enter their email address, they want to actually have people enter their contact form, so we can see straight away they're going to need some PHP. Yeah, so unfortunately we don't do PHP, but we're going to use it anyway just to make it work. They also need to get directions, something we can do with a bit of JavaScript. Yeah, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Very, very handy tool. Enter your location, I'll get you directions to anywhere. And social media links. So they're going to also want this page to link straight to their Facebook and their Twitter as well. SEO, so the stuff that they want for the social media, well, right off the bat, if they want to be found on Google and have a larger audience, well, then they're going to need social media integration, they're going to want Google Business, and they're going to want Google Analytics. And then any others, and then they're the ones that they gave me, and I saw straight away they don't have Twitter, they don't have any of that, so we're going to have to add those in as well. Alright, so that is the client brief. I also have, let's see, are they on this computer? They better be. Sorry, just let me open up my my drive here. Google Drive. I'm going into UDWP. Ooh, if we're lucky. Sorry guys, just 2 seconds. SM is short for social media. Sorry, just let me get into the advanced web design group and see if they're still there from last month. Hopefully they are. Files. Alright guys, I do have the files here someplace. They should be on this computer, but I can't seem to see them straight away. Let me just go into my courses, and if I went into the advanced group, and if I went into maybe web developments. There we go. Base of Carl's Surfshack. So here we go guys, so you're going to get all these files as well, so we've got the project images there. Yes, there'll be loads of images for us to work with. I've also got a write-up, let me just find that as well. So here's my base, where's my write-up? Oh, let's see. So here's our website copy. Yes, so this is something I just wrote up. So this is the way I kind of keep my notes like this when I'm typing. So it's just the sitemap. So I've worked out a sitemap. We've got all that kind of stuff, including all the stuff it's going to need. And then we've got our website copy underneath it. Yeah. So this is just the name, description, home about, all that kind of stuff there. Yeah. Equipment rental, boards, prices, book here. So that's all the copy that they provided me on this. And then we've also got this thing here. And that's just the client brief again. Yeah, I should be able to. I shouldn't have any problem posting these on Facebook. I'll have no problem posting these two on Facebook. I unfortunately can't give you any of the images on Facebook because that would be breaking my terms and conditions of the licensing on the images. So you can find the full You'll be able to find the full development folder up on your dashboard tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we are actually going to start building this. Now, what we're actually going to do to build this is that like I said, they need to build this quickly. So they're a small surf shack on the west coast of Ireland. Do you think they have a lot of money? Do you think that they have a lot of money to hire out a web developer to spend a few months developing their site? No, they will not. They certainly will not. And a lot of people have this issue where I am dying for someone to pay me a lot of money where I can lock myself up for 6 to 8 months and work on a project and do everything from scratch right down to the last pixel border radius. Love to do that. But people quite simply don't have the money. Yeah, they don't. So what you have to do is you have to do stuff like WordPress, but we can also use Bootstrap. Yeah, so we're going to use Bootstrap and we're going to merge that with themes. So I'm going to show you how quickly we can actually make something like this. Yeah. So on Thursday I'm going to show you how quickly we can take something like a project brief and get a website kind of running very, very quickly. Yes, we can do this. Well, I wouldn't recommend we do it together. Simply because I'll be moving quite quickly, just to show you how quickly we can do it. But really, at the end of it, you're going to be doing it yourself. And what I want you to do for today's class, guys, so there's no need for the wireframe, but what I do want you to do, there's no need for the wireframe for Carl's Surfshack, just preview what's about to come up. But what I would love to see going up onto our web design group is your portfolio site wireframes. Yeah? So that's something you already have in your head. You already know who you are. You know what your skill set is. I want you to work out a nice wireframe for a portfolio, and I need 2 wireframes. One for your mobile portfolio and one for your desktop. And remember guys, start with your mobile. So let me just show you very quickly. So let me just, I'll show you what some of the last group came up with. Discussion. Where are they? Put that up here. All right, it's here someplace anyway. It's here someplace. Don't give away the surprise by going around too much, but it'll be in there someplace. Let me just see. That's food. Ah, come on, load up. Almost there. Almost there. Ooh, a lot of stuff here. Okay. I'll actually provide you one of these for almost there. That's one of the first ones. That's that. That's when we were doing the image manipulation. Sorry guys, I didn't realize this. We had posted so much to the advanced web design group. Let's see. I might have gone back too far. Oh, there we go. So there's an example of one wireframe. Alright, if you do have any questions, you can start typing them there now, guys. There we go. This is the one I was looking for. This is one by Edward. This is actually quite a good one. Yeah, so there's a nice simple wireframe. And that's really what I would like you to do. Between now and next class is start putting your wireframe together, because after we build Coral Surf Shack, you're going to learn just how handy we can actually use themes, and you're going to be able to use them to build your own portfolio. So if you already have this planning down, quite simply after that lesson you can either go straight into build your own Coral Surf Shack, or else you can use the knowledge that we learned that lesson to go in and build your own portfolio, which you could actually have done, well, depending on what time it is in your country, you can pretty much have it done that evening. Alright, so that's what we're going to do next class. Now we're ready to actually move on to the real life stuff. No, you won't need to redirect your code, Amaret, because what we've done is we've declared a doc type. Yeah, so sorry, Amaret is asking when we transition, so when HTML5 moves into their subsequent versions and CSS moves into their subsequent versions, we won't have to do anything because we'll be writing, so if you were writing in HTML version 4, you declared that up in the doc type. The browser knows you're writing in HTML4. Like if you're writing a HTML email, I'm pretty sure that's still back in HTML version 1 or 2. So it knows because you declare a doc type. So far we've had all the lessons should be uploaded. I noticed there is a slight design flaw. So guys, something you should really SHAW, slight design flaw here, but let's just take a quick look. The rule of thumb when you're designing anything, guys, that your user is stupid. Alright? Now it might sound a bit harsh, but you really have to kind of make sure that you have that fully ingrained in every one of your design things, yeah? If you think that the user will figure it out, trust me, they won't. Trust me. And it's actually not, and it's not stupidity, it's quite simply the fact that when you build something, you already have an idea. It's already been implanted in your head on the project, how it's going to go from start to finish. But for me, like this is, I actually gave out about this when I first saw it. Let me see. I'm not sure how it looks on yours. Which one is this? Yes, so I was not happy about this at all. Yeah? Alright, let's just run a quick test. Press, alright, and please, now it wasn't stupidity because I did it myself the first time I went on here. Who here, the first time they got here, wondered, where are the practical lessons? If you had, press 5. If you didn't, press 1. If you first went on to one of our advanced courses, who here wondered where our practical lessons were? Press 5 if you did not know where they were. Like straight away. Alright, so guys, I can tell you straight off, we've tipped into the fact that most people could not find it straight off the bat. I did it myself. I came on here, I was like, alright, 1, 2, 3. Wait a second. And then I went down, and I was like, oh, okay. But my first instinct was that they're not there. Yeah, they're not there. So you want to make sure that everything is nice and simply laid out. It's actually a bit more difficult on our new layout, but we're fixing it. But yeah, but it's stuff like that, guys. So it's stuff like that. It's below the fold, and that's all about content priority. Yeah, it's all about content priority. The amount of emails that we get when someone doesn't scroll down far enough. And it's actually not their fault, because as a web designer, you should know that. Yeah? As a web designer, it's really the web designer's fault. If a user has a problem, it is your problem. It is my problem. Because I did not design it in such a way that they can easily use it. Now, if someone goes onto a screen and you've got a big button in the center that says click me and people wonder where to click, well then that's their fault. But you have to help them along as much as you can. As much as you can. Alright guys, so yeah, so what you have to do between now and Thursday, what you'll be doing between now and Thursday is you will be designing the wireframes for your portfolios. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing between now and Thursday. Just mocking up your wireframes. How would you like your portfolio to be laid out? Is there going to be an image of you? Have you made a logo? Is it going to be your name? Are you making up a name for your company? What are your skill sets? So you know HTML, you know CSS. Google some marketing keywords to beef yourself up. You know, you're an expert in... And you can just do stuff like that, guys. It's just general kind of sales, it's general kind of marketing stuff. You know, you can use terms like the cloud and UX, UI, and you'll understand why we can UX and UI because it just happens naturally. They're all just marketing terms that we use to just kind of just sell our wares. But yeah, you're in the industry now, guys, so you're allowed to know. Do I know examples of good 404 pages? If you want to see loads of examples, the best 404 pages I've ever seen are Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow have the best 404 pages. STACK, Stack Overflow / blah blah blah. Page not found. I like Stack Overflows. Oh, what do they find? Let's see, what other ones do they have? Oh no, sorry, not Stack Overflow. It's Git. GitHub.com / blah blah blah. Anyway, there are great ones. There are great ones. I can't remember how to get there. Let me just see. GitHub 404. 404s. Oh, it's gonna search GitHub now. 404 Git. GitHub. Great thing about the 404 errors, guys, is when I was doing this back in college, we put a lot of effort into our 404s because, of course, when you're learning how to do web design, yeah, well, chances are that your lecturer, your instructor, whoever's going to be testing, they're going to find a broken link someplace. You know, we'd only be designing for the past few months, so we used to put a lot of effort. We figured out that we should put a lot of effort into our 404s so that when our instructor was testing going through the thing and they hit a bum link, and then they went, and then they brought them to our 404 page, and if you could make them laugh, they didn't mark you down. Yeah? Because you provide a great user experience for them. So yeah, GitHub has great 404s, like this page is not the one you're looking for, the one with the Wile E. Coyote reference there. There's loads of these, but you can really just do whatever you want. You want to put your spinning dice in there, and it's a great place, and that's why CodePen is fantastic, guys. It's a great place for you to just be testing stuff out. Like if you've noticed, before I came in here, I got a little bit carried away, guys, because I saw something. I liked this. So I saw here, when I hover over Nibbler, do you see his head? Yeah? Do you see that? That's a nice little feature there. And so what I've done, so my mind got a little bit carried away, so we might actually do this at some point while I do it with my introduction students. Shouting Skulls. Woo! Coming up, guys. That's there on my CodePen page. I'll just call it actually something. If you want to go onto CodePen, if you want to fork that and do whatever you want with it, see, just reverse engineer it. It's quite simple. I've got a face, I've got eyes, I've got a mouth, I've got face hover mouth. I'm actually stunning. It's actually very poorly written. Nothing special about it at all. You can see even my code is all messed up, where I've got -15 margin here to make everything centered. But if you want, try and figure out how to make them sing. Yeah? So really what you need is some kind of hover effect to play music when you hover over them. Anyway, I'm going to work on that. All right. Yes, you should be able to download it from the Play Store. If I go to color.adobe again, color.adobe.com. Adobe Color CC should be the name of the app. That's odd. It would normally give me the app right here. I guess they got enough downloads. It is, yeah. Adobe Color CC is the one that you're looking for. Adobe Capture. Ooh, has anyone got it there? Just wondering. ADOBE CC app. You know what I can do? I can just do this, and then I can just find my Facebook group again. So we got Nibbler. We got Adobe Color CC. We've also got Paleton, P-A-L-E-T-T-O-N. And let's just grab it on the iPhone as well. Adobe Capture CC, ADOBE CAPTURE, App Store, App STORE. There we go. And we also want some Pal. So perfect. Adobe Capture CC, create digital assets. Yep, that's the one we're looking for. So take a download of that, take a look at it. It's great fun. It's great fun. You do want to get yourself an Adobe account and link them both together, so you're able to upload your color schemes and then easily, seamlessly kind of use them on desktop between your designs. And there's loads of stuff in there that you probably won't be using if you're not doing a lot of graphic design, but it's still fantastic just to grab color schemes that you see. Even if you see like a stunning photograph, or even if you just see a color you like, grab the app, take a snap, you got the color there. Yeah? Because remember guys, we've got over 16 million colors to choose from. So, we've got quite a pick. Perfect. And you know what? I'll leave that in there. I'll stick that in there as well. Shouting Skulls can go in there as well. So, you can do with that what you like. Perfect. Alright guys, so is there anything, any other questions for me? No? No, we're all good? Alright guys, that's no problem at all. That's no problem at all. So we've got all that gone. So next class we're going to be using templates to really kind of fast track our design, get all that kind of stuff up as quickly as possible. And DPI resolution for images for web. I'll tell you now. DPI resolution. Sorry, I'm going to have to Google this because I would say 72 or 83. But I don't know how far along Retina displays are getting. DPI RESOLUT for web. It really depends nowadays because now we can load them up. So 72 DPI is still good enough. 72 DPI is good enough for like normal screens. I know that's the standard. In fact, most of the time when you go to save an image, 72 DPI is fine. But for web images, Retina RET. This is the problem that we're entering into, guys. We're entering into a problem here where we've got, amazing images, amazing screens that are able to handle all those pixels. So let me see. Does it matter? It says here that it's fine. So I'd say we're good. I'd say we're good. I actually do have mine to 300. In most cases, I do like to set mine up to 300 for the Retina display, even though I shouldn't. But in most cases, if you get your web speed down like low enough, but let's just see. Friends, I've put the 72 dpi to rest. Why? Alright guys, so there's 1000, and there's 72. Yeah, so there's not really, in fact I'll stick this article in there as well for you guys. There you go, that's a nice comparative between the different pixels. But honestly, you're actually pretty, you're pretty good with that. You should be pretty good with, well, 72 pixels per inch, guys, is pretty, you know, it's pretty standard. That's really the way that we used to run the webs. We used to just be 72 DPI. 72 dots per inch was just perfect. It was just worked on everything. The only thing that we're really, when you want to go over that, you might go up to 300 for Retina displays. You don't have to go up to 1000. You certainly never have to go up to 1000. But 300 DPI if you want to load in images for Retina displays. But then again, you don't want to load in all your images like that. You want to load them in dynamically, which again, you're going to have to do a bit of scripting and stuff like that for if you want to do stuff like that. But 72 DPI for any kind of normal images is perfect for the web. Right. So yeah, guys. So if you want to, so 72 DPI, be fine. Normally when you're saving an image, I know when you're saving in GIMP, I know when you're saving as a JPEG in what you call it, when you're saving as a JPEG in Preview on a Mac, you'll actually notice that it's or if you resize an image, sorry, if you resize an image in Preview on a Mac, you'll see that it actually sets the DPI to 72 by default. All right. You found that even going up to 76 DPI pushes up the image size. What do you say about loading time? I'd say you test it. You test it. But actually, no, Daniel. What I do is I would open up, you know, if there's an image size, I'd open up the two images side by side. Even if you can try to do one of those switcheroos where you save one as 72, save the other one, hide the image sizes, split them up, you know, open them both up in quick succession. Don't let yourself know which one is which, and then try to guess which one is which one is better quality, or even better, just show it to someone. It's like, which one of these are better quality? And you know, if they can't tell the difference, well then go with the lower one. Yeah. Alright, so it's all about testing, and you can do a lot of your testing by eye as well. So if you have two images, one is very large, one of them is very small, if there's no noticeable difference in quality, well then, you'll be grand. How to use the free hosting package? I actually don't know how to use the free hosting package. I haven't used it myself. 000 web host. I set up one just to put a few images up there, but I never really did anything else with it. But it should be well, I won't. I can't even remember my login here, but let's just see. Well, listen. I'll log into that in my free time, and I'll see what's tripping people up. But it should really be just the same thing. It's the exact same thing as GoDaddy, where you have a C panel. You got a place to upload your files. You drop your files in there. Exactly the same. Alright guys, I do have to run. We're a good 20 minutes over. So what I will do is I'll just post this now very quickly. Post. And guys, I'll see you on Thursday when we build our client's website. Until then, have a very good morning, very good afternoon, very good evening, and very good night, everybody.